Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Today, we're diving deep into a book that's, well, it's a real literary puzzle.
Wow.
John Kennedy Toole's A Confederacy of Dunces.
Magnificent, hilarious, and just profoundly sad all at once.
Exactly. Our mission here is to figure out how this Pulitzer Prize winner, this amazing snapshot of New Orleans, gets so much of its power, its definition even, from the tragedy surrounding its author.
Yeah, the rejection, the suicide, it hangs over the whole thing. You can't really talk about the book's comedy without understanding the author's personal catastrophe.
It's unavoidable, and it starts with the main character, right? Ignatius J. Reilly.
Oh, Ignatius, where do you even begin?
He's unforgettable. 30 years old, lives with his mother, pathologically lazy, thinks he's a medieval genius.
And believes everyone else, absolutely everyone, is a dunce. Wears that green hunting cap.
Right, and the constant, spectacular indigestion, flatulence as a philosophical statement almost.
It's an incredible setup, brilliant.
Yeah.
But like you said, knowing where it came from, that changes things.
It really does. Because this wasn't written by some confident literary giant. It came from a place of real frustration, didn't it?
Deep frustration. Toole himself, John Kennedy Toole, was incredibly smart. Got his master's from Columbia, taught English.
So not Ignatius at all in that sense.
Not outwardly, no. But he had this amazing ear for New Orleans, the way people talked, the culture. That's the bedrock of the novel's realism, its energy.
And he wrote it when? In the Army.
Yeah, early 60s while he was stationed in Puerto Rico. Apparently he poured all his anxieties about, military bureaucracy, the modern world he saw as decaying, right into Ignatius.
So Ignatius became this, mouthpiece. Or maybe a shield?
Kind of both, I think. This huge bombastic defense against a world he found completely absurd and maybe a little threatening.
Okay, so he writes this thing, channels all this into it, and then tries to get it published, which didn't go smoothly.
Didn't go smoothly, is putting it mildly. Torturous is more like it. He sent it to Robert Gottlieb at Simon & Schuster, a huge editor.
Right, legendary. And Gottlieb.
Well, he saw something there. Sparks of genius, But he had this big problem with it.
Which was?
Fundamentally, he said it wasn't commercial.
Ouch. That's got to sting.
Big time. He felt it was too focused on Ignatius, too relentlessly misanthropic. He wanted Toole to sort of tone Ignatius down, give it more of a plot.
Make it more palatable, normal.
Exactly. More like a standard novel. Gottlieb worried about the structure, too, felt it was too loose, too episodic.
And how did Toole take that? Because the structure feels kind of essential now, looking back.
Well, that's the thing. Toole pushed back. Hard. He argued that the chaos, the relentless Ignatius, the bouncing around New Orleans, that was the point.
That was the satire.
Precisely. He wasn't trying to write some neat little story. He thought he was lobbing this literary grenade, and changing it would diffuse the whole thing.
But Gottlieb didn't budge.
Nope. And after more rejections, more frustrating attempts at revision that probably felt like betraying his vision, Toole just lost hope.
He started to believe his own character's view of the world, that the dunces really were in charge.
It seems like it. He became convinced, reportedly quite paranoid, that the publishing world was actively conspiring against him, that they couldn't or wouldn't recognize his genius.
That's incredibly sad and dangerous thinking for him, obviously.
Deeply tragic. That despair, likely mixed with worsening mental health issues, led him to leave New Orleans, drive out, and in 1969, he committed suicide. He was only 31.
Wow, 31. And the manuscript?
Abandoned, stuffed in a closet, basically. Seemed like that was the end of it. Destined for, total obscurity.
Which is where this story just takes such a sharp, almost unbelievable turn.
Yeah.
Because the book's success, its whole legacy, it's built on this weird, unsettling mix.
Totally. You've got the intentional genius, what Toole meant to do, and then this layer of accidental, tragic irony that comes from his life story.
Okay, let's break that down. First, the intentional stuff. The literary craft.
Right. Look, from a purely literary standpoint, it's brilliant satire. Ignatius is this amazing creation, like you said. People compare him to Don Quixote.
Battling modern windmills.
Exactly. Fighting mediocrity, hypocrisy, everything he hates about the 20th century, all from his rather unique perspective.
And the humor comes from? Where, specifically?
What
makes it so funny on purpose?
Well, There's his own internal logic, right? The stuff he writes in his big chief notebooks,
Hmm.
these completely serious, pompous, philosophical rants against everything from TV to improper theology.
While simultaneously being this total slob.
Yes, the physical comedy is key. His size, the ridiculous hat, the cheap clothes, the constant belching, and other issues. Every time he tries to be intellectually superior, his body just humiliates him. It's pure slapstick almost.
Like Lucy pulling the football away.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Right, and he aims that satirical fire everywhere in 1960s New Orleans. It's not just vague dunces. He skewers specific types.
Like who?
Oh, the owner of the strip club, Lana Lee, and her fake morals. The pretentious, clueless artists in the French Quarter, even the police, like poor Officer Mancuso in his ridiculous costumes. American
Sure.
greed, intellectual laziness. It's all fair game.
It's got that Rabelaisian thing people talk about. Earthy, vulgar, energetic.
Absolutely. Obsessed with food and bodily functions, but somehow it elevates the crude stuff into real literary comedy. It's smart and lowbrow.
Okay, so that's the intended genius. But then there's the other layer. The accidental irony.
Yeah, the tragic echo. This is where it gets heavy. We're laughing at Ignatius struggling, failing, raging against the system.
Well, we know the author went through something horrifically similar.
Exactly. When Ignatius complains that no one understands his genius, that the world is run by idiots who won't publish his masterwork, you just can't help but think of Toole.
I believe in that exact same thing. To the point of
Ending his life. So the satire suddenly feels like this grim prophecy. It gives the laughter this terrible weight, this unmatched depth, almost.
And then the book actually does get published decades later and wins the Pulitzer.
Making it the ultimate, almost cruel, cosmic joke. The very thing Toole died wanting recognition, vindication, it arrived, but only after he was gone.
That irony.
Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't just make it funnier, it makes it more powerful, more devastating.
I think so. It critiques the whole idea of artistic recognition, how arbitrary and often too late it can be.
We owe the fact that we can even read it today almost entirely to one person, right? His mother.
Thelma Toole, yes. Her stories, incredible, absolute maternal devotion and persistence.
She just wouldn't give up on the manuscript.
For years after his death, she found it, read it, and became convinced it was a masterpiece. She carried this, dog-eared, worn-out manuscript around in a shopping bag.
Seriously. A shopping.
Yeah, apparently. And she just badgered publishers, professors, anyone she thought might listen. People mostly dismissed her, grieving mother, maybe delusional.
But she kept going.
Relentlessly. Until finally she managed to get it to the novelist Walker Percy.
Who was teaching at Loyola University in New Orleans.
Right. And Percy, by his own account, dreaded reading it. Another lost manuscript from a heartbroken relative.
Yeah, you can imagine.
But he opened it, started reading about Ignatius, and was hooked. Completely blown away.
So Percy became its champion.
He was the key. He pushed it, got LSU Press interested, and crucially, he wrote the foreword.
The one that tells the whole tragic story.
Yes. It lays out the whole saga, Toole's brilliance, the rejections, the despair, the suicide. So right from page 1, before you even meet Ignatius properly, you have that context, that heartbreaking frame.
Which must have completely shaped how people read it from the start.
Absolutely. It wasn't just some funny novel anymore. It was this literary event overshadowed by tragedy. It got published in 1980.
And then the Pulitzer in 81. Just unbelievable vindication way too late.
It cemented its place instantly. But beyond the author's story, you have to talk about the setting. It is New Orleans.
So totally, it's like the city is another character.
And not the tourist version. It's the real gritty early 60s New Orleans. The accents, the neighborhoods, the little details, Levy Pants Factory, the Paradise Vendors, hot dog carts.
It feels so lived in. It's both a love letter and a really sharp critique, isn't it? Captures this sort of dense, sweaty, glorious mess.
Exactly. The dialogue alone makes it this incredible cultural document of a specific time and place.
Okay, so we've got the genius, the tragedy, the setting, the Pulitzer. But it's not universally beloved without reservation, right? There are criticisms.
Oh, for sure. And interestingly, some criticisms echo Gottlieb's original concerns.
Like the structure.
Yeah, that structural looseness. It is episodic. It feels more like a string of Ignatius's misadventures and reactions than a tightly plotted story moving towards a clear goal. For some readers, that can feel meandering or, aimless.
And Ignatius himself. I mean, he's brilliant, but he's not exactly likable.
Not even close. He's a monster of self-pity, ego, and frankly, misogyny. He hates almost everyone. The humor comes from laughing at him and the other dunces.
Right. It can feel a bit cruel sometimes, and the female characters often come off pretty badly.
That's a common criticism. They often feel quite shallow or serve mostly as foils for Ignatius's rants or desires. It's definitely a very male-centric perspective.
And, I guess, being written in the 60s,
Mhm.
some language probably hasn't aged well.
Definitely. You have to read it understanding its time, some of the casual ways characters talk, the regional dialects, the underlying prejudices. They can feel jarring or offensive to a modern reader. It's very much of its era, not always a good look now.
So, wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
what's the takeaway here? A Confederacy of Dunces is this paradox.
It really is a monument to unrecognized genius, maybe. The humor is brilliant, timeless in many ways, because Toole just got people, especially the puffed-up American ego.
But you can't escape the shadow. For you, reading it today, knowing Toole's story is just inseparable from the text.
Completely. It's a tragic triumph. You're laughing your head off at Ignatius's ridiculous schemes and pronouncements.
While this little voice in the back of your head reminds you, the guy who wrote this died thinking those failures, that rejection, was his actual reality.
It just adds this incredible depth, this layer of pathos that maybe wouldn't be there otherwise. It makes every reread potentially deeper, more complex.
Which leads to a really tough question, I think. Does that accidental irony, the tragedy that frames the whole publication history, does it actually make the book better, more valuable as art than if it had just been a normal hit during Toole's lifetime?
That's the question, isn't it? Does suffering, even posthumously recognized suffering, elevate art? Or does it just make our appreciation of it more complicated, more haunted?
Something to definitely mull over. Pick up the book or read it again with all this in mind. It's hilarious, it's brilliant, and yeah, it's haunting.